Hello Capricorn and welcome. I am Capricorn rising here in Bali, and perhaps that makes me more legible to you, maybe not. I'm talking about Capricorn Sun and 10th house Sun, and what is the trick? What is the trick to this whole happiness game? Well, what do, Capricorn? You are born to do. You are somebody who functions in an environment that is not usually a very easily functionable environment for most of us. For the rest of us, really, you are very good with work, you're very good with deeds, you're very good with language, you're very good with people, you know how to get things done, you know how to say things right, you know how to do things perfectly, and perhaps potentially you also know how to get the most out of situations, people, or potential, giving things a new name, giving things that already exist a new way in life. You kind of know how to teach people. Though perhaps you don't actually want to be a teacher this time, you want to be the presence, the front face, or the face of the person that discovers something even though they perhaps haven't, and re-preaches or reteaches people something that's very full on. And that's why this is a sign of the religious leaders, this is a sign of Christianity, this is the sign of Islam. It is the very strong wanting and needing to be first, despite all odds. It is the very strong wanting and needing to be last as well sometimes, which kind of like cracks a whip on your shoulders, because sometimes almost like you need to be taught by your own thoughts and ideas on life that things are not worthy of your presence, and occasionally they're not, but sometimes they are. And things kind of like develop in a way where you have to work hard for your money, or work hard for that job or that title, that status, but you're working and working and working a lot in this lifetime because you want to do that. And this is why, well, because your previous sign is the amazing 9th house, the amazing Sagittarius, the amazing teacher of us all, the amazing knowing of what the now really is. And that makes you a little bit confident. That is your unconscious. You kind of know what the now is. You know what the now is. And then what? What next? Well, what next is to do. What do you do with the now? Something that Sagittarius hasn't yet mastered perhaps in many ways, but you really want to make the most, the best choices, the best possibilities, the best clothes, the best makeup, the best spouse, the best, because you want to see how far you can go as a potential, as a potentiality of the now. But then what happens sometimes when you go too far into the now to create the best, your suffering is that you are the worst. So when you feel like you're not the best, when you're the worst, it's like either one or the other. You feel very small and belittled by things, but in a way that's your happiness. There's a very strange thing that happens with Capricorn, because we don't actually see it in Sagittarius until later. When you suffer and when you don't commit to something enough to make it happen, when you are not there and when you have missed an opportunity, there is a part of you that feels a little bit awakened and excited and enticed by that idea of failure. Because Capricorn is a very complicated beast, you guys, because the beast of Capricorn is a very interesting joker that plays a game with itself, himself or herself, wanting to be most that it can be, but yet suffering from the being of that most. But then again, knowing that things can be turned around at any point and become the worst, and become, decadent and nervous, and things can stuff up, and the stuff up of reality, the idea that things can fall as well as they can rise, really revels within you a certain type of syndrome, or like an optimism towards the worst, a laughter in the face of danger, a deep need for danger to be of service to you in a way, and then a deep longing for the shift in a society where things can be seen as bad when they're good, and good when they're bad, and things can get really misaligned as that becomes your most cunning type of nervous system that actually leads you to become somebody who, in a way, energetically, inspires the worst in people as well as encouraging them to do the best, or inspires the best in people when you're telling them that they're the worst. And that's a really interesting syndrome that happens in society, as you are basically, what is it called? There's a name for it. Like reverse psychology, but there's something else. It's like a syndrome. It's like you're telling somebody they shit just to make them do better. And then you say somebody, yeah, you're really good at what you do, just to make them like fall on their face. It's a really funny game that you play with us, and that can make you feel very superior sometimes in your judgment about what other people do. But then you come to yourself at the end of the day, no matter what you do with your life, you come back to yourself at the end of the day and you look at yourself and you go, wow, I've done nothing of value or virtue, or I've done too much, or I've done too little. And there's like a measuring scheme where you like sort of like have this little measuring cup in which you measure everyone. And then you got a different one for yourself. And even if somebody tells you, you're the best, you're the best, you're the best, you kind of like give them very little, thank you. But then you look at yourself and you go, wow, I am actually the better. I'm the better of what I do. But then I'm not really as good as that person. You know, they've got a little cup, you know, but I've got this one. I'm not better than that person, but I will commit to them in a way that they think they're better than I, but then sometimes they'll think they're worse than I. And there's like a weird sort of a mixing thing where it's like people's drinks get mixed, people's dreams get mixed, you know, with yours. And then sometimes you can make people work for you and do things for yourself, even though you don't actually need them to do anything for you. But sometimes they get enticed into your game just to be measured by you. How much do you think I'm worth? How much value do you think I present? And sometimes, often Capricorn will say not much to somebody who has actually a lot of value. And sometimes they'll say you're the best to somebody who's got no value at all, they feel. And then either way is right. Either way it's right, because this person that comes to you to be valued by you, whoever they are, and whoever you are, you may not want it, but this game of measuring people up against each other, or measuring talent versus brawn, or dreams versus expectations, or institutions versus free will, it always is on. The battle or the galactic measuring system in you, it always goes on. There's always a measuring cup with you, and I feel that is what makes you sad, because you know that there is a measure that happens in society and in reality that is triggered by you, or that targeted by people like you who really want to know what good really is and how good can be something bad. And then at the same time know that bad is good and good is bad, but at the same time, where are you? Where do you fit in? What is the point of the measuring cup at all? If you know that the whole feeling of reality, the whole feeling of society is truth, and yet is also incredibly false. So where are you? Which are you? Are you the true or the false? Are you the Jekyll or the Hyde? Are you the good guy or the bad guy? Are you the good cop or the bad cop? It's really hard to define sometimes with Capricorn, and that can make them sleep well at night, but then do well in the morning, and then feel badly in the afternoon, and in the evening they feel like they're worth nothing, and then night comes again, they feel fine. It's like a very interesting game where good, bad, bad, very, very bad, very slightly good, very good, or very, very good, extremely good, wow, well done, oh no, you've done nothing all day, look at you, you're worthless. And then it's like a kind of like a pouring of different frequencies through your body, and I kind of feel like it's a very interesting idea for you to maybe stop sometimes. As I'm a Libra native, I don't really know how you work, but I'm an 11th house sun, so I can maybe show you a little bit of the way forward. As Aquarius and 11th house is after you, there needs to be a certain decomposition of the old to be left behind, and that means that whatever you feel you're building onto needs to certainly be evaluated more, and what is in the now a bit less. So it's like, for example, you are a musician and you're making music and you're evaluating everything around you, and you're thinking about, you know, how you can progress and how you can mutate and how you can make more out of your time and how you can make more money and everything like that, and you're measuring up yourself against other people and things like that. But then, like, say, look at where you're building from. Look at your childhood. You know, what happened? You know, say this person came over and they took advantage of me, they stole my material, they made a lot of money from it, and I got nothing for it. Well, maybe have a look at maybe when you were 5 or 6 years old and you used to tease your brother about doing badly, and then you maybe used to like steal a couple of his t-shirts and wear them with pride in front of other kids and pretend they were your t-shirts. Something like that, and how good that felt. And perhaps when you think something is good, sometimes you can actually experience it on the other side as well, or you can evoke another person to experience it too. And then sometimes things get really mixed up. Like, say you've done it, like you've done the big star thing, you've done this big thing, and then inside you feel, oh, that's no good. Why? Maybe because before you've judged and persecuted somebody for being a star. Maybe you were looking at Britney Spears, like say if you're a vocalist, and you were looking at Britney Spears maybe in your day, like just a few days ago, or maybe a few months ago. It depends on how instant your karmic scale is. You know, say if you've got a Piscean rising, maybe a very slow karmic scale. It depends. It all depends on your situation in your birth chart. But say, for example, if you judge somebody and said, wow, she got famous, she'll be unhappy all her life. The end. Because she's like pretentious or something. Then when you do get famous yourself, you'll feel like, oh no, I'm not going to be happy now. I don't know why. I just don't feel happy. I just don't know why. Because you wish it on somebody else. And because the next part of you is Aquarius, the next ascension sign to you is the 11th house of Aquarius. That means basically that when you wish something upon somebody, you're doing it to yourself. Vice versa. But mainly like you are somebody who tends to play the game very well, plays the game very well, knows what cards to pull, knows what words to say, knows how to delude somebody into thinking they're doing really well when they're not, knows how to place themselves in the right situation, how to get the most out of their money, how to get the most everything. And sometimes it can step over into leadership of people in a foolish way, like pulling people's buttons, you know, pulling people's strings, pushing people's buttons in order to get ahead yourself. And then when you get ahead because you've pulled too many strings or pushed too many buttons in other people, sometimes it's really hard to retain the position of wealth and power. And often Capricorn plummets, and when they plummet they feel joy. Why? Because they cleared a karmic slate. That's why. And that is why perhaps you have a certain type of disempowerment that gives you joy sometimes as well. Say if you like crying in front of people, and you will find people to cry in front of or cry about. And just that feeling of crying and plummeting, and your ego is like, I'm a little baby. And then you love that. And something in you really enjoys that feeling of being disempowered only because you enjoy it, because it's like a clearing of a karmic energy. But then why are you doing that all the time? If it's something that you do all the time, there is an issue. And then if you can, to reach to your joy and more sustainable success, just concentrate on your development without looking at other people, because the more you look at other people, the more you think about society, the more you think about integrating into different groups of the collective, I feel the more you plummet. But the less you think about other people, the more you succumb to total self-mastery. If there's a Capricorn out there, you know, you're watching this and you like don't know what the hell I've been talking about for the last like 10, 13 minutes, that's probably because you are there. And what does it mean when a Capricorn is there in terms of joy and happiness? Well, they're just freaking doing their thing. They're creating their thing, and occasionally they step out into the public eye and they bring their freaking, you know, amazing invention. Like they invented a new freaking water filter system, and they freaking bring it. They're like, they don't even think about how many hours it took them. It may have been a day, it may have been like freaking 9 weeks, you know. They created this thing and they bring it to other people and they show it, and somebody goes, wow, that's amazing. Somebody's like, that shit, I've needed that like last year. I don't think that's going to work this, you know. And so somebody else goes, wow, I paid top dollar for it. Somebody else goes, oh, whatever. But then you kind of like go, okay, I don't care about what you guys saying. I'm caring about me. Who said top dollar? Okay, I'll sell it to you. You know, but they don't care. Like when the Capricorn is evolved, it doesn't care about anybody else. Doesn't care about people going, wow, you've done well, and when they can feel that they're not meaning it. And they don't care when people say, well, that's really shit actually, I think my cousin can do better. You know, like just don't listen to what people are saying and the judgment that they pass on you, because it's always false. When you're listening and when you're hearing, you're playing these games about who am I, where do I belong, where are my friends, well, he said this and she said that, and oh my god, where am I? It's really hard to compete. It's really hard to compete because your competition is with yourself. And that is something that is very silly for a Libra perhaps to say, but I've got an 11th house sun, that's right, Aquarian sun. Sometimes people can come to you with a mistake and you can forgive it more than you can forgive yourself. And that makes you a formidable tutor, because tutor, you've been in your past, you already know how to teach. So if you're a teacher, that's wonderful. But if you're still competing with your students, stop. Like if you're competing with your vocation while you're not actually professionally that, but you're competing with the people that are studying under you, that's not a very good thing. In terms of love and marriage, I feel for Capricorn, sorry. True happiness in a loving relationship does not quite commit. Like there's something that doesn't quite stick because they don't like playing games in the same way as other people, until they can find somebody almost as crazy about what they do as them. So it's like if you're a Capricorn and you're crazy about something that you do, it doesn't even have to be a career. It could be bodybuilding, it could be some kind of collection, it could be something. You have to be crazy about something in order to achieve the equilibrium within yourself. And then you get a person and they're also a little bit crazy. They're a little bit crazy about their tarot cards, they're a little bit crazy about fashion, they're crazy a little bit about making money, spending money, whatever they're crazy about, and you just go, okay, wonderful. And you got the Mr. and Mrs. And it doesn't really matter if you're not completely connected, it doesn't matter if sex life is good and then it's bad, it doesn't really matter, because as long as two people are not looking to each other, that's fine. When you are looking to each other and you're like looking to each other, wow, you know, oh, you've got this, you got this, oh, you're a little bit obsessed with this, you're a little bit sorry, aren't you, but you're not saying anything. And then there starts a picking in each other, and that can only last for a little while until one or the other person can actually say either I'm going or we're just freaking getting on with our lives. I really can't be bothered. Snapping at each other inside, feeling one thing but saying another thing, compromising and like being a little bit pathetic with certain comments and certain ways of expressing. Like it's very petty sometimes when Capricorns can have relationships like that, but when people of, you know, Capricornian nature can find a partner with whom they can be completely alleviated of all guilt, of all stress, and just do their own thing, like their own complete separate pockets of reality, things can be good. But the best kind of Capricorn, why the best? Just the person that just does their thing that they're meant to do. I feel as a person that freaking comes in, they do an invention, they do a project, they build it from whatever material they found. Maybe somebody else designed this, nobody used to know about that. They like put it together, they create a new water filter, or they create a new type of bacteria for eating plastic, or this is what the world needs now, okay? They discover a new type of bacteria that eats plastic, they create a little system that helps the world in some way, and they've done it in their own time. They come back and they go, here's my system, you don't like it, okay, you don't like it, you don't like it, you like it, you want to give it a go, okay, fine, I'll sell it to you. I want, you know, well, considering how the world is going, I'm going to say $20 million, please. And then they sell this system. Oh, you don't want to buy it for that? Okay, I'll go to another person. Oh, okay, you do want to buy it. Okay, well, it's 21 million now. You know, that kind of person. It's just like, you just know what the world needs. You know exactly what's what, and you just do it, and you go for it. But if you're socially minded, and you sort of imagine yourself as sort of like social glue, and you want to be the princess or the prince that gets to say the words and then something else to somebody else. If you want to be that person, everything crashes and burns. And even though you achieve something through speech and through vulnerabilities of other people, it sort of gets a very hard, to be a very hard ride that doesn't quite commit to itself, and it sort of gets scattered amongst different people. Now, in terms of the social collective, I feel at this point of your evolution, you can do a lot through touch, through physical manifestation of yourself. Like if you're a healer, through touch, any kind of thing through touch, through putting things together, physically putting things together, pulling things apart, knowing what goes where. We got Uranus, the ruler of the 11th house in Aquarius, and Aries at the moment is going to be there for a long time still. So it's like doing things in a practical way, in a very biased perspective perhaps, working alone, looking at the moon, staring at the sun, having a look around, doing the thing, practicing whatever you preach, practicing whatever you do in your own experience, in your own workshop. Create an office space where you can be alone, where you can be drama free. If you can do that, I feel that eventually people will pull you in. They'll just like gather around you. They'll be like, come in, please come in. Like almost like zombies. Like, oh yeah, come right in, step right in. We really want you around, because you got Pluto till 2023 in your sign as well. If you can center inside and you can be inside and you can process inside in your own space, everything's kind of like parts ways. Like, oh, please, sir, please, miss, madam, please. You know, we've been waiting for you. But if you're scattering and a part of you wants to splash and see what it's like to cry in front of another person, and then a part of you wants to splash and see what it's like to, like, you know, fancy somebody but then leave them for another person, you want to like do all these different things, I really feel that considering Uranus and the sun and just different frequencies in the sky, it would be very unsupportive of your greater picture, greater life, because I feel by 2023 you come back to yourself and you go, so where am I, what have I achieved? I've been splashing around, seeing what wants me, what doesn't want me, and who am I? I don't freaking know. So basically, Capricorn, thank you very much for listening. I hope you invest in yourself wisely, yourself. I hope you invest in your time on this planet in a very particular way, as you've always known you would. And I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much. If you've got any questions or answers or anything you'd like to share with me, I'd love to hear from you. I'm not sure if I'll be replying to these messages because I don't usually have the time or the consciousness to go on YouTube replying to messages, but I've got my website with everything linked to it below. If you want to have a look at my artwork, my mediocre singing, anything like that, please go on. Plug in, tune in, sign up, subscribe, like, don't like, it's fine, it's all energy, it's all beautiful. Thank you very much, Capricorn. I hope you have a wonderful day.